In this video, we're going to find out the 3 reasons for why you're always hungry and the simple ways that you can stop the hunger from ruling your life. Hi there, and welcome to another video from PowerPlantBody.com, where we teach you everything that you'll need to know to start living a healthy, energized, plant-based life. And my name's Taylor, and in this channel, we make videos that cover plant-based nutrition, exercise tutorials, and we give you tips for improving your lifestyle, just like in this video. So if you haven't already, consider subscribing. Do you find yourself hungry all the time? Are you constantly thinking about your next meal or snack? Do you feel guilty for eating more than you think you should for most meals? Well, you're not alone. More people than ever before are finding their waking hours of their lives being consumed with feelings of hunger and cravings for food. Whether regular trips to the vending machine in the hallway or going to the cafe for a bagel only an hour after eating lunch, people are finding ways of curbing their insatiable hunger that arises between breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But why do you get hungry again only moments after eating your meal? Well, if you're finding it difficult to manage your weight and you believe that calories that you're eating between meals may be to blame, there are 3 common causes of hunger that you can work on fixing today. Wouldn't it be nice if you could think about anything other than food between meals? We live during busy times, and many people feel as though they are chasing the day from the very second that they wake up. From the moment our alarm goes off until the time that we get home, our day has likely been filled with meetings, deadlines, angry customers, yelling bosses, etc. The evening offers a moment to decompress and relax before getting up the next day to do it all over again. However, staying up later than we probably should, decompressing from the stress of the day, will only serve to shorten our sleep. Whether it's watching TV, surfing the net, or scrolling through social media, staying up late in this way is a prevalent method for unwinding. More often than not, people take too much time in the evening before getting down to bed. Also, the lights from screens themselves can have a severe effect on your sleep. If you haven't watched my video on how computer and phone screens affect your sleep, I'll link it in the description of this video. When you don't get enough sleep, your body overproduces a hormone called ghrelin and underproduces a hormone called leptin. Under normal circumstances, your body will produce ghrelin whenever the stomach is empty for long periods of time, and ghrelin will then circulate in the bloodstream, where it eventually has a chance to bind to receptors in the hypothalamus of the brain, stimulating hunger. Ghrelin is a good thing, most of the time. Under normal circumstances, the release of ghrelin is a good thing, as it causes us to seek out food and eat it, preventing us from dying of starvation. Ghrelin also helps the body by stimulating growth hormone that repairs tissues and builds the body back up. Once the stomach begins to fill up and expand, the gastrointestinal system reduces and then halts the release of ghrelin, ultimately stopping the hunger. Leptin does just the opposite of ghrelin. Circulating leptin binds to the hypothalamus, causing the cessation of hunger, allowing you to go about your day without thinking of what you'll eat next. Hormones get out of whack the less you sleep. There have been numerous studies recently illustrating the effects that poor sleep has on weight gain. The largest of these studies included a survey of more than 1 million participants, correlating sleep duration and the frequency of insomnia to an increase in BMI. People who slept less than 8 hours showed an increase in BMI that was proportional to their decreased amount of sleep. Researchers saw lower leptin levels in those who had fewer than 8 hours of sleep, with a predicted 15% lower leptin level for the habitual sleep of 5 hours when compared to an optimal 8 hours. Less sleep had the opposite effect on ghrelin, increasing levels an average of 15% for those sleeping 5 hours when compared to the optimal 8. What this shows us is, if you sleep less than the optimal 8 hours, the first part of your day will almost certainly be plagued by hunger, as the shorter sleep times are associated with increased circulating ghrelin and decreased circulating leptin. This hormonal pattern is consistent with reduced energy expenditure and an increased appetite, a recipe for weight gain. How do you get more sleep though? Well, the simple answer to this question is figuring out when you need to be asleep by to ensure that you get 8 hours of sleep before your alarm clock goes off. So if you wake up at 7 a.m., you need to be asleep by 11 p.m. The problem many people have is not that they aren't getting to bed on time. Instead, many people lay down for bed at a reasonable time, but they find it difficult to fall asleep. Tossing and turning for a few hours before finally falling asleep, or a restless sleep altogether, will steal precious hours each night of the quality sleep that is needed to keep ghrelin from spiking and leptin from being suppressed the next day. Now, as I mentioned, I have another video on the importance of not using bright screens before bed that you can watch by clicking on the link in the description. But the main takeaway is to stop using screens at least 2 hours before bedtime. So if you need to be asleep by 11, you'll have to stop using screens before 9. Another quick tip for falling asleep faster is to help your body get into the parasympathetic state. This is the opposite of the sympathetic state, or something that most people know as the fight or flight mode. Our days are filled with the go, go, go mentality, pushing us into the sympathetic pathway. To wind down and allow your body to relax, you will likely need to help facilitate its transition. I'll devote a full episode in the future for ways of improving your sleep, but here are a short list of things that you can do to help wind down and move your body into a relaxed, ready for sleep state. Read a book by candlelight or a desk lamp with a red-shifted bulb. Use a foam roller to perform self-myofascial release. Do some static stretching focusing on long, relaxed breath work. And lastly, ensure your sleeping environment is well set up for a great sleep. A good sleeping environment is one that creates a space your mind subconsciously associates with sleep. By removing things like TVs, computers, or any other forms of entertainment that can't be had on a bed, your mind will start associating your bedroom with a place for sleep and regeneration instead of going down YouTube rabbit holes for hours on end. Make your bedroom as dark as possible by using blackout curtains over your windows and reducing ambient light from LEDs on devices like alarm clocks or any other potential sources. Ideally, you should not be able to see much, if anything, once the lights are turned off. And lastly, I find a white noise machine can significantly increase my quality of sleep over the night, as it helps drown out street noise or any other noises from within the house. As the studies mention, you should shoot for 8 hours of sleep a night, as less than this can cause your hunger hormones to get out of whack the next day, leading to cravings for unhealthy, overprocessed food, which leads us to the very next reason that you're always hungry. People aren't eating enough fiber. So most of the food that is sold in the grocery store is overprocessed and undernourishing, containing high amounts of salt, sugar, and saturated fats. Over-refined foods are high in the nutrients that we don't want a lot of and low in the ones that we do. Fiber is one such component in food that has become increasingly lacking as we increase the number of processed foods in our diet. It's recommended the average person get between 30 to 40 grams of dietary fiber per day. Typically, modern men and women struggle to get much more than 10 or 15 grams. Fiber has many benefits for our health, including reducing the risk of heart disease, diabetes, and colorectal cancer. But fiber plays a critical role on our health in a more indirect way by helping us stay satiated longer, reducing our likelihood of overeating, and, as a result, reducing the chances of obesity and metabolic disease. The only place you get fiber in your diet is by eating plants. Unfortunately, the modern North American diet contains a disproportionate amount of animal products compared to plants, causing fiber intake to be less than optimal. To get more fiber in your diet, you need to eat more vegetables, fruits, nuts, seeds, legumes, and grains. The fiber we eat is called dietary fiber and comes in two types, soluble and insoluble. Soluble fiber dissolves in water, becoming gel-like as it travels through the digestive system. The gel fiber slows down the process of digestion, keeping you feeling fuller longer. Also, the insulin spike from any sugars present in the meal is blunted by fiber, as the release of those sugars becomes slowed and more manageable. The more steady release of sugar into the bloodstream also helps prevent the quick hit of energy and equally rapid crash afterward that is so often experienced from meals high in sugar but low in fiber. There are other benefits of soluble fiber as well, including the potential for lowering the risk of heart disease as it helps reduce low-density lipoprotein or the bad cholesterol in the blood. Insoluble fiber is, as the name implies, not soluble in water. This sort of fiber is found in the husks of nuts and seeds and wheat bran and many vegetables. And insoluble fiber helps your digestive system move things along efficiently, aiding in gut motility and elimination, a characteristic which many doctors believe can help prevent colorectal cancer. Lastly, insoluble fiber is especially good at helping you feel full sooner and stay full longer, as it adds bulk to your meal, taking up space in your stomach without adding extra calories. Making sure you eat enough soluble and insoluble fiber with each meal will help you keep your mind focused on the things that you need to do, as your stomach will feel full and your energy levels remain stable. Getting enough fiber doesn't have to be a challenge. Simply adding a few extra servings of vegetables, fruits, nuts, seeds, grains, or legumes to your day can definitely do it. For instance, if you started your day with a bowl of banana nut oatmeal, you'd already have eaten about 10 grams of fiber. So instead of going for the processed snacks from the vending machine when hunger strikes, bring a few pieces of fruit or a handful of nuts, or maybe even some cut up vegetables. They'll fill you up and they're full of nutrition instead of saturated fat, sugar, and salt. Speaking of salt, let's get into the third and final thing that you can do to help curb hunger between meals. People aren't drinking enough water. A 1998 study at the New York Hospital Cornell Medical Center of over 3,000 people found 75% were experiencing chronic dehydration. Even mild dehydration can cause muscle cramps, dry skin, headaches, fevers, chills, and yes, food cravings. Luckily, the minimum water intake requirement for most people is easily attainable. It's just 8 8-ounce glasses of water per day. However, this number would need to be much higher for people playing sports or who have regular exercise or fitness routines. In fact, even for relatively sedentary people, 8 cups of water may be too low to maintain adequate hydration. And the reason, once again, has to do with our North American diet and lifestyle. With moderate daily activity and a whole foods, plant-based diet, the human body can effortlessly maintain something called the sodium and potassium balance. High sodium consumption causes water retention as the body works to dilute the higher concentration of sodium in the body. If a person is already slightly dehydrated because of not drinking enough water, the increased water retention needed to dilute the salt will serve only to rob other bodily functions of water that it needs. In short, a high sodium, low potassium diet paired with inadequate water consumption is a recipe for chronic dehydration. But what does dehydration have to do with hunger? Well, our bodies are very good at sensing hunger and letting us know when it's time to eat. Some might say it's a little too good. However, the body's ability for telling us when it's thirsty definitely has some room for improvement. In fact, when you get the sensation of thirst, when your throat's dry, and when you finally start craving water, it's a sign that you're already dehydrated. More often than not, the lesser sensation of hunger, the times when you feel like having a snack but you couldn't quite stomach a full meal, these are times when your body is telling you that you're thirsty. So the next time that you feel like having a snack from the vending machine or dipping over to the cafe for a cinnamon bun, try having a glass of water instead. Now, it does take some time for the body to hydrate, so 45 minutes from the time that you have a glass of water before you feel the hunger subside should be expected. You don't have to wait for the hunger pains to show up before reaching for a cup of water. Investing a few dollars into a quality stainless steel water bottle that you can keep on your desk at work will help remind you to drink enough water throughout the day. How much water should you drink though? Well, as mentioned, the recommended intake for water has been set at 8-ounce glasses of water per day for most people. However, this is an obvious generalization and one that does not take into account body size or physical activity. Instead, many sports nutritionists and dietitians recommend dividing your body weight in pounds by half and then using the number that you get as the number of ounces of water to drink per day. Using this formula, a 200-pound man would need to drink 100 ounces of water. So as you can see, this is a much higher amount than the previously recommended 64 ounces of water. The exception to this rule is when a person is relatively overweight or when they participate in frequent, rigorous activity. So situations like this can usually be solved by using the same formula and then just some judgment on your part. Some quick tips for drinking more water. Now, I get it, water is boring, like super boring. It doesn't have the sugary goodness of soda, or the caffeine buzz of coffee, or the muscle building potential of a protein shake. But it is, like it or not, necessary for survival. And thankfully, there are ways of making your water more appealing. You can use a natural flavoring like stevia. Stevia is a naturally sourced zero-calorie sweetener that comes from the leaves of the stevia plant. And stevia is 150 times sweeter than sugar and a much healthier alternative to sucralose or aspartame. You can purchase stevia-sweetened flavors for your water from most health food stores. Add lemon or cut up fruits to your water. Rather than relying on the refined sugars and artificial sweeteners store-bought sodas use, you can opt for a more healthy alternative by using cut pieces of fruit. Adding lemons, kiwis, strawberries, or cucumbers to your water will make it taste fresh and full of flavor. Buy sparkling water. Sparkling water is a great way for getting the fizz of soda without the sugar or artificial sweeteners, dyes, or caffeine. Sparkling water with some cut up fruit or stevia sweetener is a delicious way to make your water more enjoyable. Rather than buying cans or bottles of sparkling water, I suggest purchasing a soda stream so that you can quickly make your own soda at home. The upfront cost may seem high at first, but you will save money in the long term, as well as have a much better impact on the environment. A bonus of the soda stream is that the bottle can double as your water bottle at work. Eat more fruit. While adding fruit to your water is great, eating fruit is better. All fruit is hydrating, but some are better than others. Watermelon, strawberries, pears, and honeydew are my favorite. It's likely that, as you spend more days in an adequately hydrated state, the feeling of having more energy and staving off hunger pains will be enough to keep the habit up, and you won't have to rely on adding flavors or drinking sparkling water to prompt yourself into drinking. As you can probably tell by now, these tips are not life hacks or tricks. They're lifestyle changes for most people. Getting enough sleep, eating whole foods that are rich in fiber, and staying hydrated are nothing new. In fact, they're the pillars on which a healthy life supports itself. There are no pills or fad diets or tricks or life hacks that can keep you from overeating or snacking on unhealthy foods between meals. However, if you take the time and listen to what your body is telling you, it will happily steer you towards what it needs to survive and ultimately thrive. We went over a lot in this video, including some ways of implementing changes into your life, shutting down your screens 2 hours before bed, making sure your bedroom is completely dark, and possibly purchasing a white noise machine can improve your sleep considerably. Making your meals from whole foods rather than eating processed, prepackaged ones will help you get enough fiber, increasing your energy, and help you feel more satisfied throughout the day. Keeping a water bottle on your desk and possibly adding natural flavor or drinking sparkling water will help you stay hydrated, not allowing for thirst to be confused with hunger. And while all of these ideas can help you with hunger and cravings during the day, they will ultimately help you live a much more energetic, healthier, and enjoyable life. I'd love to hear if any of these tips helped you, and if so, which ones you adopted into your life. If you have any other useful tips or insight, I'd also be grateful if you left that in a comment. As always, thank you so much for joining me today. If you got something out of this video, I'd be grateful for a like. And if you know someone who would benefit from this video, please feel free to share. And if you have any questions or suggestions for future videos, please leave me a message in the comments or reach out to me on social media. And remember that with everything in life, the secret to getting ahead is getting started. So get started.